Kendall Gill, and Tilo, where they duke it out over the current events of the sweet science. Moderated by Mindy Bryant, with correspondent Alex Correa of the Squared Circle Report. Sponsored by 6040.
Welcome to the Parlay, a longtime 15-year NBA veteran Kendall Gill, who's not in studio today because he is in Champaign signing autographs at Illinois. Of course he is, but we got some Jersey people in the building, and he's missing out, man. So, KG, I'm going to get you when you get back, my boy. I'm going to get you. The Parlay is sponsored by SafeLift. If you want any safety operation instruction, counsel, training, and operation products, you got to check out SafeLift. They are awesome. The email is in the description box. He will take care of you, and he will train you well. My guy is awesome, so you got to check out SafeLift right there in our description box. We got a special guest in studio today, all the way from Jersey. We got, of course, Teddy Cruz, former trainer with Arturo Gatti, Kovalev, and owner of Evolve Boxing Club, and his boxer, Melody Popravak. Popravak? Did I get it right or wrong?
It's good. It's good.
It's good. Okay. All right, we're close. That means we're close.
Melody's in the building today. I guess you got to see her in action with Olivia Curry out in Miami almost a month ago or so. And, it was awesome chopping it up with you guys after the fight. And thank you for being gracious and being here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. It's a pleasure to be here. Looking forward to, having our conversation.
Absolutely. Well, Melody, we talked about your fight and so forth, and that, like, your last fight with Olivia from Chicago, Olivia Curry, was pretty much, it was just toe to toe, right? You both were countering each other, went all 12 rounds, ended up in a draw, and it was really a really good fight. People were saying it was the fight of the night, and I totally believe it. You two were just not letting up either way. First of all, Melody, how'd you feel about your performance against Olivia that night?
I was excited to fight, having not fought in a while. I definitely needed to settle in after not having fought in a while, but I was proud overall of what, we had a fast training camp as well. So I was proud of what I achieved in such a short period of time. Yeah,
I always ask these questions to boxers with their trainers. You're in a fight. The trainer, you're with their trainer every round, right? And he's giving you advice, counsel. He's seeing what's going on outside the ring, and while you're inside the ring, he's letting you know if you're maybe winning or not winning. But you go in there and you were in there with somebody that was matching you, right? And one person it looked like they had a lead, the other person looked like they had to lead a little bit later. So a lot of things going on, in the ring. And you as the boxer, how does that go for you? Communicating with your trainer and then trying to execute in the ring in between rounds.
I mean, just that that's what you are, especially having not, trying to settle in. It's like, do what he's telling you to do. You're just yelling at yourself to execute the plan because it's way easier said than done. But if you could see throughout the fight that I started to execute better and better of what he was telling me in between the rounds.
Yeah, you did say you had a light training camp, right? It was kind of a quick turnaround. How did that affect you in any way? I know that those things those are not easy things to do. Plus, you're trying to make weight and so forth. Is there something different that you do with a quick turnaround like that?
There are things you have to do, but actually, I like a challenge and a hustle. So I think it helped me a little bit to, you have to suffer more doing everything in a short period of time. So it gave me a little, I don't want to say chip on my shoulder, but I just thought I worked for this, so that helped me, I guess, a little.
That's cool. Well, there's been some change in plans, to my understanding. Of course, you have a fight coming up on July 2nd. It is in Nashville, Tennessee, from what I'm looking at here. What's the plans on that, and how did that come about?
Well, I was on a different fight originally, got canceled. The opportunity came up to fight sooner, and being that I just fought, I'm ready to fight. So we thought, hey, if we could make this work, it was originally so hard for me to get a fight. I'm going to take up, every opportunity I could swing. So I'm excited to be fighting again.
Yeah.
And Teddy helped with the opportunity, of course.
Teddy, let me ask you this. What do you see in Melody that's improving? It's obviously, a short career here that we have going on. I know Melody has been, I'm sure you've been an athlete prior to this, right? And you've done things. But as a trainer, what are you seeing in Melody right now and her approach to the game, the fight game in itself?
Her consistency, her work ethic, her love, her dedication, all wrapped up in it's what she puts in is what she's getting out. I mean, listen, it's hard enough for her to get fights with females. And on top of that, she trains. Let me put it to you, she drives 2 hours to get here to the gym.
Wow.
Number one. Number two, she stays for 3 hours, and then she drives another 2 hours. So that's a 6 hour, 7 hour time frame that she gets here. And then she goes in, because we don't have females. Guess what? She's sparring dudes. And they're letting their hands go. I mean, even if they're doing 80%, they're still male versus female contact. It's a hard comparison. So, listen, even if I'm dying and she's putting in the work, I'm going to be in her corner because what she's given me in return, so that's what I see in her. Everything else is fixable. Everything else is it's repetition. Let's work on this jab. Let's work on your head move. Let's tighten up. All that stuff is just work in the gym, but she is doing this commitment on her end. Then on top of that, she gets her full-time job. She runs in the morning. She does condition. So what else is there to say? Let's just go.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, total respect to I respect any person, right, that goes into a ring, because you could lose your life. Let's just be real, right? And so you have to be prepared in that way. And Teddy, you obviously that as a trainer. Melody, that as a boxer, and definitely it's total respect. The dedication, that you do talk about, it has to be unmatched, because you have to be prepared. So, and I see that, you can see that with Melody, she takes this very serious, and she does well, me seeing you fight for the first time in Miami, I was like, okay, this person, I've never seen you fight obviously before till that day, but definitely have a heart of a champion. You were in there and you did not let up, and so I give you total respect. Melody, what's the future for you? What's your ultimate goal in the sport of boxing? What do you see that looking like for you?
Oh man, that has changed over time, because and a lot of the women start, like you said, having played sports prior. I just started thinking I want to get in a fight. But now things have changed since moving here. I'd really like to lead the way for Greenville, not necessarily Atlanta, and just show the people around me that you can do it, meaning win a championship, win a big title, have my name up there with the other great women. Why not? So that's how I feel now.
That's women's boxing obviously on the rise in different ways, and the people, the two women that spearhead that is the Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor's, right? Those two, and Clarissa Shields and all the champs, right? We know the names. I have to ask you, because when I watched Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, the first fight, I watched the whole fight, but I'm not gonna lie to you. After the last bell in round 10, they did 10 rounds, right? Was it 12?
10.
It was 10. Okay. On the 10th round, I shed a small tear because I was like, I don't know how this is beautiful, but this is absolutely beautiful. The way they fought, like, it was just toe to toe. I need to ask you, as a woman in boxing, like, how did you feel about that fight specifically, watching it?
I'm chuckling because, I'm Team Brooklyn. Amanda won that fight, I felt, because in professional boxing, it's who throws the harder punches that's supposed to matter, punch effectiveness.
Yeah.
And other than that, yeah, it does get me choked up, man. They left their hearts in the ring, and also to see the city I love turn out for them. I was just moving during that time, but everyone, oh, you're going to the Serrano fight. I saw her face on the billboards.
Yeah.
Great. That changed my goals too. That inspired me for sure.
Yeah, I've covered one fight at the Mecca in Madison Square Garden. I was there for Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz, the big upset. And boxing there is different. So even that added to the fact that they were in MSG was like, I felt like I was there. But Teddy, you as a trainer, like, tell me how you felt about that fight. You know, these two women going at it in such a way, like, you know, what's in your head as a trainer watching this?
Well, that ranks up there, and I'm gonna say something really off kilter here, but that was similar to the same thoughts of why is Jake Paul fighting? Where is he a clown? But no, what he did, he gave us the spotlight to boxing. They, with what they did in women's boxing, it's like, wow, they're doing it. They're really doing it. And it's, you know,
Fighting the fight.
listen, you know how hard, like, these fighters go through. And we're not talking about the fight, the war, the battle. We're talking about behind the scenes, the getting up at 4 a.m, the running 5 miles, the sacrifices, this is what happens. It's a ripple effect. One person, it's Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor in the ring, but guess what? They had to fly over. Their whole family had to sacrifice. If they're married, their husbands have to sacrifice. Their children have to sacrifice. Coaching, that we have to go with them wherever they are. We went to Miami, so it's a whole ripple effect. So them leading that barrage, that army for people to support, I mean, I think it was amazing, and I can't wait to see more, and continue, not just die down with them. I wanted to develop and grow and be something, because you know what? If we're giving props to Jake Paul, and no disrespect, why women that are really fighting not,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally with you, and it's and with women in boxing, a lot of people are what I've seen from the outside is people are watching it more. They're watching it more because of that fight, right? They were getting there, right? But it's like I hear people talking about Amanda Serrano and the women in boxing, Clarissa and Katie Baumgartner, you know what I mean? Like Baumgartner, like it's there and it has the opportunity. I almost feel like boxing is about to be what the WNBA is becoming. And you guys know what I'm talking about, because the WNBA is, with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and all these women coming in, the brand is elevated. And so, fighters like yourself, Melody, and Olivia, and all these women that are coming in, you guys, I feel like you're entering that stage where it's about to explode even more. And it's there. I want to ask you, Melody, I mean, is that exciting to you? Do you feel like that's coming on the women's side of boxing?
I really do, obviously bias. I think women bring their own story, their own style to the sport. And I think it's appreciated and it stands out. I think also, our hunger and the things we've been through, we want it in a different way. I feel, like I said, we're fighting the fights. Like, even with the Olivia fight, I just thought, I'm taking this fight, that's what you have to do to be, if you want to be a fighter, how interesting is Shakur if he never gets challenged, if he just looks pretty the whole time? Boring. It's boring. So maybe everyone should take a message from the women.
I like that. Before we get into some boxing topics here real quick, I wanted to ask you, Melody, how is it sparring against guys? What is that experience like? I know Teddy just said you go, you're in there and you're matching them, but is it to feel different? Does it elevate you? I mean, how is it for you as a boxer?
I do think it elevates me. I've had both routes. Both have their advantages and their positives and negatives, but some of them, yes, they're stronger than me. But then I'm going to be stronger than once I fight a female, I don't have as much problem moving their body weight around so that's a huge advantage, I would say.
That's awesome. And Melody, it's going to be awesome to see you in your next fight, man. We can't wait to see what's going to happen. We're going to go through some fire questions here real quick. I'm going to ask you both some questions, and we're going to go to the boxing itself, just kind of some general topics. A lot is happening. So we're going to ask you here real quick, and then just let me know. We're going to go ask you first, Teddy. Frank Martin and Gervonta Davis tonight. Is it me, or does Frank look drained? Am I tweaking?
Well, draining, listen, if you rehydrate properly and you've trained I don't know. Here's what I don't know, what they're doing behind the scenes. And Tank always starts off slow, but this is a great opportunity for Frank. If he did everything right, listen, anybody can get it. Like Adrian Broner used to say, anybody can get it. You just never know when is that time. And then when is the right time applies to what either party's doing mentally, psychologically. Yeah. It all comes down to psychological. They're they're both training. It might be just the experience of Tank that might edge them. But I think Frank Martin, from starting later his career in pros to now, I think he's earned a spot. And if he does it, I mean, kudos, man. He deserves it.
Yeah, I got you. Melody, let me ask you a question. Does Jake Paul and Mike Tyson actually happen?
We should question that, considering he had health problems.
Yeah.
However, if it does happen, I got Mike Tyson.
Not Mike. You think it's gonna be a real fight, man? I'm so conflicted with this fight.
You know what I think of that? I think it's Vince McMahon against Stone Cold.
We got a wrestling fan in our crew here. He's smiling to his eyes right now after you said that.
That's it. It's promotion. It's Mayweather versus the Big Show.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which was a fun match, by the way. It was a fun match.
But it's entertainment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll give you that. Teddy, let me ask you, man, is Usyk pound for pound champ for you right now after what we just saw in Saudi Arabia?
Listen, he's the little guy in there. I mean, when you look at the big men in the heavyweights, why has he been successful with them? I mean, we're talking about Joshua. We're talking about Fury. They're big. Those guys can fight. I think they put all these factors, age. They put all these factors into the fight. Listen, that's all psychology. Like, don't worry. Listen, you could be a 50-year-old man, and if you're ready and you're doing what you need to do, that's the work ethic of Eastern European. They're just that way. They're just built that way. I mean, I've spent time in Russia. I know what they're doing day in and day out. So I think, the fight could have went either way, but he was the more consistent man. Yeah, that's what mattered, the consistency.
Yeah, we interviewed Kenny Sims Jr. He's from Chicago here. He just signed with Golden Boy, and he said it's heat of the moment when it comes to pound for pound. When the top three guys fight and they win, you're like, well, they're probably pound for pound. And the other guy fights, you're like, well, they're probably pound for pound. So that it gets motioned out. It's so hard to pick a number one champ because anyway, and Terrence can easily be number one, right? But then you got Usyk, who's the little guy in the heavyweight division, and he's going through all of them. So it's hard to determine that with the categories in itself. Melody, ask you a question. When it comes to fighting and fighters and money, Saudi Arabia is killing the game right now. We see that, right? And Golden Boy, and we just had a Matchroom versus a Queensberry Promotions out there 2 weeks ago. That was an awesome event, by the way. I really did enjoy that. Poor Eddie Hearn, by the way, going 0 for 8.
Yeah, talk about going home with your tail between your legs.
Yeah, it was bad. But would you like to see something like that out here in the States, where a top rank versus, what is it, a Matchroom, or Top Rank versus Golden Boy? Would that interest you as a fighter, or just to see it as a fan?
Yeah, of course. That was a fun idea, and they're implementing a lot of different fun things in that, now they have Eminem performing, coming out of retirement, and I like all these, they're taking some creativity with it. It's fun to see. It's smart.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. And hopefully that happens. And then the Saudis dumping money like nothing, man. They're talking. I saw a report, guys, that Saudi Arabia wanted to take over boxing literally and make it the UFC like Dana White.
They should.
I
think they should.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun. And then we really get the matches we want on a consistent basis.
Exactly. That's where we're losing fans, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens, man. Teddy, I'll ask you a hard question. Should Deontay Wilder retire?
We've talked about
this. And you can give me a trainer's perspective on it, obviously, or you can keep it simple. But it's a good question because.
Well, it's a question because Mark Breland is my buddy. He's my friend. Yeah. And Malik, they're both good trainers, but Mark was built for his style. Mm-hmm. For Deontay's style, Mark was tailor-made for that style, that boom, boom, long, kept him long. I know when you're trying to help somebody with flaws as a trainer, there's a lot of time that needs to be implemented. Now, the question for the retirement is, can you do it in a certain time frame and get back to that top pound for pound or title shot level again? And that's the real question. How much time? Because time is like all against us all the time. How much time does he really have? For if not, if he could do it in a short time, he should stay in the game because he's got the equalizer.
Yeah.
It's crazy because with Deontay, like his come up was amazing. We all know the overhand right and how powerful it was. It really led him through 10 or more title defenses, if I'm not mistaken. And it was something we haven't seen since the Mike Tyson era and so forth. So he brought light to the heavyweight division in such a way. And then Fury came and Anthony Joshua, and it was great. And then it's all been kind of because the losses have chipped in and it's hard to do. But with Deontay specifically, I'll tell you guys, it was disappointing to me as a fan because I felt like he didn't really evolve when the talent when the talent leveled up, right? And you can't just be a one. I don't want to say he was a one-trick pony, but if that's all you're throwing and you don't have the defensive skills to get around, you're gonna get beat, and he got beat. And it's what sucks for me as a fan too, because in my heart I do care for fighters as well, is seeing him get knocked out the way he's getting knocked out, when you know he has so much potential. But it's a question that gets posed, and I always ask a lot of people, what do you think, should Deontay retire? And if he did, he had a great career regardless. And
the thing too, like those things, don't do them now. They should have been done. Like you're doing it backwards. Like these are the things that you should have done going in. The fundamentals. That's the opposite. Like you went to Z and now you're doing the alphabet backwards.
Yep. And Father Time ain't no joke.
That's the key.
Father Time coming up is hard.
I want to know why they're letting his mom weigh in the media, because I do not want my mom weighing in on whether I should box or not. That's my opinion on that. Like, don't ask my mom.
Yeah.
She's her face is on my Instagram. Like, why?
Well, it's only fitting that I ask this last question to Melody. Melody, who do you got in Serrano Taylor #2?
Serrano. Okay, so yes, Katie Taylor is an amazing boxer, and her speed is phenomenal. So is Serrano's, but I just have to give it to Serrano. I think she won the first one. I think she has the ability to up her punch quantity and come even harder this time. And Katie's going to try to box her, but I don't know. I got Serrano. I'm always, like I said, I'm biased. I'm always going to be Team Brooklyn here.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, you walked out with a Puerto Rican flag on your last fight, or did you have it behind you, or was that on your
My brother.
Oh, yeah,
We played Tego.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I'm like, is she Puerto Rican? I didn't know she was Puerto Rican. Yeah, and then I found out. But
My team is the
well, I made that comment because you know who I got. You already know who I got here in Chicago as a Puerto Rican. So, but we'll see. It's going to be another great fight. I can't wait. Really quickly, before we do say goodbye to you both, Kovalev's last fight, man, I was rooting so hard for him, Teddy. And you can see almost a little bit of a backdrop, right? And again, that father time phrase, you know, it's a real thing. But the heart that he showed in his last fight, I mean, I was like, man, he's doing everything he possibly can to win this fight. How'd you feel about Kovalev's performance in his last fight?
You know, I had went to Kyrgyzstan early in the camp, and then I had to fly back because my wife had to travel, and then I didn't make it back. And Buddy also was in Cali working with, I think he was working with Caleb Smith. And it was one of those things that we were like, why go to Russia when Buddy lives in Florida? Kovalev's house was in Boca Raton, which is down the street where Buddy was training. Like, we all could have met up in Florida and did the whole training camp, which would have been convenient, you know, for all of us. He lives down the street, close to his family. Buddy was there, and I'm in South Carolina now, so I would have just stayed there, flew up on the weekends to be at my house.
Yeah.
And I felt bad because, you know, you get attached. You have a different, you know, listen. When I would spend 24 hours with Gotti, I hated him because it's like brotherly love. You know what I mean? We love each other, but when I see him in fights, my heart is pounding because that's like my brother. You know, and that's the emotion when you spend a training camp with somebody. You are 24/7 with them. They could be annoying like your brothers or sisters or whatever, but at the end of the day, they're your blood and you care for them. So for Kovalev, that was the feeling that I'm like, man. And I just was like, I saw moments, but a guy that's 16-0 and you're that world-class Hall of Fame career, that if you're having that problem with that guy, it's, you know what I mean? It's like, it's something to really think about. And I shouldn't be doing this unless you go back to opponents kind of.
Yeah. No, for sure. I feel that sentiment, you know, from you. And you're in the camp. You've been in their camp for a while. And, you know, Kovalev, obviously a very talented boxer. You can see that his skill was still there, but it's just timing and speed was just a little off. You know, he was trying towards the end. I was like, oh man, I don't know what's about to happen. But, you know, total respect to Kovalev. I wanted to ask you, obviously, as his, you know, you're in his camp, his trainer.
In camp where he was, not to say that they don't train hard, but there's a no-nonsense policy with Buddy McGirt, and there's a no-nonsense policy with me. If I'm saying we're doing another 1,000 sit-ups, he's going to do it, whether he bitches and moans. And the same thing with Buddy. I need you to do one more round of sparring. Yeah. So when he became the boss among amateur, and they're a great amateur team where he was, but he became the boss. So he was telling them, I'm done. And then they would let it go. So I think that's where it lacked a little bit of that extra push, which could have been, I don't know. You know what I mean? But that also, like the no nonsense policy that we have when we're in training camp, that might have had an effect also.
Yeah.
Well, you know, things happen. You know, you have to follow through, and you know, we obviously saw the result. But if anything, Kovalev has had a great career. Former champion, obviously. You guys did a great job with him, and you know, nothing but respect for him. And hopefully, we'll see what happens, what he decides later on to do in his career. Melody, thank you so much for being here with me today on the Parlay here from Chicago. Teddy, you as well. Thank you for talking to me out of Miami as well, and talking about Arturo Gatti and Andre not Andre Ward, Mickey Ward, that amazing trilogy that we love as boxing fans. And you guys have been nothing but great. So we hope to hear from you soon. Melody, we're gonna have to see one of these fights real soon. I'm gonna get in touch with some of your people out there, and we're gonna see what we can do. And wish you the best in your next fight.
Thank you. Thank you, T.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one, man.
All right, guys, definitely a pleasure. Don't forget the parlay sponsored by SafeLift. Check them out in the description box. This is Tilo. What's up, guys? Tilo here for the parlay. 15-year NBA veteran Kendall Gill
Yes,
there.
sir.
Don't forget to subscribe to everything you see there in the description box. We want to hear from you guys, and of course, hit that bell for the notifications, like that you know what's going on.
Hit it.
By the way, just want to make sure you know, Tyson Fury has never lost a fight to Deontay Wilder.
And this is untrue. He lost the first fight.
I don't even want to hear it, bro.
He lost the first fight.
I don't even
You
wanna
know
hear it, bro.
He lost the first one.
He did it, bro.
He lost the first one.
He did it, bro.
You have yet to watch that fight with me. He lost the last two, but not the first.